Hello, folks, and welcome to another episode of From the Wheelhouse. My name is Captain Mark Stevenson, and I'm here to share some things with you about what happens on Chicago's lakefront. Well, actually, it happens on all the lakefronts across this nation, and all the riverfronts and the ocean front, any place there's water, because there's federal water. Today, we're going to be talking about bareboat charters. We're going to be talking about the legalities involving bareboat charters. Now, I am not an attorney. I am not a legal advisor, but I can tell you this. When I was taking my captain's class, they never taught us how to read contracts, how to interpret the rules and regulations. They just left it up to us, and ignorance is no excuse when it comes to violating of the law. There are some things that you need to know if you want to get out on the lake, and today we're going to talk about them in detail, because if you want to get out on the lake as a passenger, or maybe you want to rent a boat, if you want to just get on a charter boat, or maybe you want to get on one of the big boats on the river. There are different requirements that must be made in order for you to be ensured that you have a safe ride. And I'm going to tell you just some of the things. I can't tell you all of the things in this short program that you need to know in order to do it right. And if you are a boat owner or you are a boat captain, you'll find this show very interesting, because I'm going to talk about some of the rules and regulations that we must all abide by. First of all, let's talk about drugs. Well, every boat captain has to have a drug consortium membership. What does that mean? A captain must belong to a drug consortium where he submits to random drug testing. Well, what are you talking about, random drug testing? Captain Mark has been told over and over that marijuana, for example, is legal in the state of Illinois. Well, it is if you're on land, but you better know this. If you're on the water, you need to leave your marijuana and all of your equipment to smoke that stuff, what they call paraphernalia. You need to leave all of that stuff at home when you get ready to or in your car at least. When you are getting ready to get on the water, you have to make sure that you don't have any of this stuff with you. Why? Because the water is federal waters. All the waters that flow in and around Chicago, the Chicago River, and the lakefront waters on beautiful Lake Michigan, Calumet River, and all of its other tributaries of the beautiful Lake Michigan. All of them are federal waters. And when you are on federal waters, you better know this. Marijuana has not been approved on the federal level, and so therefore it is illegal. Oh, what about medical marijuana, Captain Mark? Well, that too is a questionable thing, and that you need to not bring it on the boat so that you don't have any issues with it whatsoever. In fact, smoking on a boat, whether it's marijuana, cigarettes, cigars, or whatever, all of this is bad on a boat. In fact, someone told me fire just doesn't work on a boat anyway. You just don't want to have any type of fire on the boat. Well, Captain Mark, I've seen you with a cigar on the boat. You've never seen me with one lit, and I make sure. I actually use a cigar as a prop. I use a movie prop, and some people that think that I may be smoking, I don't, and I don't encourage it anyway. The thing is, if you're talking about drugs on a boat, of course, any illicit drugs, cocaine or amphetamines or any of those things, all of it is legal, is illegal, that is, and you will find yourself in a legal catch-22 and a legal bunch of problems. Don't bring it on board. The owners to the boat must have a drug program. They are required to have a mitigation program just in case they suspect one of the people who touches their boat. Maybe it might be the cleaner, it might not be the captain, it might be one of the crew members. Well, if they suspect it, they have to have a mitigation program that says something like this. First, I suspect this person of using some drugs. And they are required then to go ahead and take a drug test immediately and to make sure that they don't have it in their system. If they come back dirty in the system and having been found to be a user of marijuana or any other drug, now this mitigation program must clearly state that an individual needs to go through a 7-day detox program followed by a 30-day in-house rehabilitation program and whatever. In other words, each company has to write a mitigation system, a mitigation program to say this is what we will do if we do find that somebody is suspected of using drugs on one of our boats. So while the captains and the crew must have drug cards, anybody that touches a boat having to do with anything involving the safety of the passengers is required to have on their person a drug consortium card. They must submit to random testing. That's the end of that story. Now, what else do they have to have? To be a legal bareboat charter, you must have things like the City of Chicago business license. Well, the City of Chicago business license is just for the City of Chicago, but each municipality across the nation has its own rules. In the City of Chicago, though, you must have a real business license. It doesn't cost a lot of money, but you must do the proper licensing process in order to do business in the City of Chicago, or you will have problems from the Department of Consumer Services, and rightfully so. We have to make sure, and the city government has to make sure that everyone is protected, and the way that they spend their money is a good thing. It has to be protected. The persons that is renting the boat, they have to have someone to be able to mitigate in their behalf just in case something goes wrong. So the City of Chicago is very, very strict. They require you to have all other types of licensing and insurance and so forth before you are able to get a City of Chicago business license. Here's another one. If you have a boat in the system in the City of Chicago, you want to make sure that you let WestTrek know. Now, who is WestTrek? WestTrek is, and for those of you that are just thinking about renting a boat, you want to make sure that the company you deal with is documented properly, and you have to ask them, do they have all of their licensing and insurance? But if we take a look at the insurance, let's talk about the insurance issue for a second. The insurance that you have on a boat must be, well, let me backtrack. If you are registered with the Chicago Harbor Systems, WestTrek, who is WestTrek? They manage all 10 harbors here in the city of Chicago. And all 10 harbors are ruled by a company called WestTrek that is owned by a company named Suntex. And you must name WestTrek as one of the insured party. You must have your boat insured for $1 million. Plus, you must name WestTrek and the Chicago Park District as co-insured. These things are very, very important in case you have an accident on WestTrek property. You have to make sure that your insurance is correct, but that is not all. The renter must have insurance that is separate above and beyond that liability coverage of the owner. The renter must have a insurance policy himself because he owns the boat during that period of rental. Boy, oh boy, all of these rules and regulations. He must have the separate insurance because he actually is the owner of the boat during that period of rental. Now, what happens if a person has an accident or there's some type of problem that happens with the boat and causing injury to passengers or whatever? Well, that renter is then responsible. It's very similar to getting a rider on a rent-a-car. If you get a rider policy on a rent-a-car, then you're covered. Most of the time, though, you go to the rent-a-car company and you tell them, I already have automobile insurance and it will also insure me on rental cars. Well, you better read your policies to make sure of that. The thing is you have to sign a waiver that you are insured. Now, some people have said that you could be self-insured to be able to rent a boat. I'm not sure how legal that is and what the documents are that are necessary to do it. But my point is that both the owner has the right to look out for his property, so he's going to have insurance. But the renter has to have their own. Now, there are some companies that are online, some of these apps where you can go online and you can rent a boat. They're like the Uber of boat rentals. Many of these companies will do all the marketing for you. They'll make sure that that marketing is done well, and they will get the customers for you. They'll collect the money. They'll take a large percent, sometimes up to 30% of whatever it costs to rent a boat. They will take that for themselves for getting a customer, but they'll also provide a separate insurance rider for those people that rent through their company. Make sure that if you are renting a boat, that you are well protected. Make sure that you are with a company that is reputable. Make sure that you do your research. Do not go online and just rent a boat. You want to make sure you ask these folks, how long have they been in business? Here's a clue. If they've been in business over 5 years and they're still able to operate, they're probably completely legal. And you need to do your due diligence to find out about these companies so that you can see if they are doing the business right. The only way that I know how to do it is to do your homework, go online, do some research. Don't trust all of the reviews because people pay other people to write reviews. That's still not enough. But the next thing that you want to know is that you hired the captain separately from the boat. Now, the boat rental business is one thing, but hiring a captain, your captain of the day, the boat owner is required to give them a list of 10, at least 10 captains. That's a order from the captain of the port, and this was done under Lieutenant Commander Neubauer back in 2019 when he wrote the new rules and stated that he recommends that each company present 10 captains to each renter. Why is that? Why is that really necessary? Well, it's really necessary for one reason. The renter must have freedom of choice to choose the captain. You see, if he owns the boat, truly owns the boat, he has to be able to choose the captain himself. The problem is, and I hope that one day we're able to work with the Coast Guard as captains and owners alike are able to work with the Coast Guard and work on this regulation, because I don't think that it's quite fair that a person is required to give a owner is required to give a customer 10 captains, because the renter, they don't know Captain A from Captain B to Captain C to Captain D. They don't know the differences between these captains. Sometimes they can go online and they can search their backgrounds, like a lot of people search Captain Mark Chicago. I suggest you do. Find out who I am. You know, any captain that you hire, you want to go online and see if you can find out, do they have any complaints for not returning deposits back or not refunding cancellation money, making sure that they are totally legitimate. You want to take a look at your captain's license as well. You want to make sure that when you board the boat that you have rented and you paid for a captain, you want to take a look at that captain's credentials and ask to take a picture of those credentials, just in case something happens. Now, you have the right to do so, and you have the obligation to do so. I myself make sure that when people board a boat that I'm driving, I greet them with my license in hand. I think that's the professional thing to do, and I insist that they take a picture of my license so that they will have a record of who I am and what I am, and I show them my other credentials as well. The captain must have first aid and CPR classes for adult and children, and you must have a card in your possession that shows that you have done that. They used to be on top of us about a TWIC card. That's a transportation workers card. They don't do that anymore. And it's not necessary for the bareboat industry any longer. To rent a boat, you don't have to have a transportation workers identification card as a captain or a crew member, but I still do, just because I want that added layer of legitimacy. Make sure that whoever you hire is completely legitimate. Make sure that your captain is all the way in order and doesn't have a bunch of fraud complaints against them online. So take a look at that, as well as looking into the company that you are renting from, that they don't have a record of fraudulent complaints. Those are called clues, people. You want to make sure that if you are in Chicago and you're renting a boat, take the time to come out before you actually go out on your trip. Take a look at the boat. Inspect the boat. Any good owner is going to let you come on the boat. What if you're not in Chicago and you're just flying in? Well, you might have a relative in Chicago or a friend who can make the trip for you and take a look and inspect the boat. Make sure that the boat is clean. Make sure that the bathrooms, we call them heads, make sure that they're clean. Make sure that the people that are working around these boats are looking nice and neat and clean, because it's going to be a reflection on you as a renter. Just make sure that you do those things. You got to do your due diligence, because the industry is heavily regulated on one side, but totally unregulated on the other. Everyone has the right to act any way that they want to. What if you get out there, though, and that you're boarded by the Coast Guard? Well, if you get out there and one of the regulatory agencies, it doesn't have to be the Coast Guard. It could be the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, the Chicago Police Department. It could be Water Reclamation. It could be a number of regulatory agencies that want to stop your boat while you're in the middle of your party and ask you a few questions. Some of them will do some documentation searching and go through your documents. I want to share a video with you right now, and this one is of a Coast Guard boat pulling up to another. And I want you to see some of the things that goes on here. If we can play the video, we're going to cue this video up now. Okay. As we are taking a look at this video, this is actually a fishing boat. Now, fishing regulations are stringent on the Great Lakes as well, but this could be a pleasure boat, a fun day out and all of that. But just for simplicity's sake, I chose this video so that you can see what happens. The Coast Guard are really nice people, and I can tell you, it used to be a time that we were kind of scared of them and would kind of shy away from them. But now the Coast Guard, they don't act in a punitive manner. The Coast Guard is acting in a manner to serve us. They are only looking for one thing and one thing only. They're looking to see that we're operating under safe conditions. So if you have rented a boat and the Coast Guard pulls up, or any other regulatory agency, do not panic and do not start getting scared and wondering what's going on. And I see this guy here immediately pulling out his ID and everything. The Coast Guard's asking for documentation. One thing that you want to check before you go out is that all of the safety equipment is on board. The Coast Guard here is asking him to show that he has life vest on board. What if you're going out with a group of people and there are 20 life vests there? Or let me make it more simple. What if you're going out with a group of 12 people and you only have 10 life vests? Well, you as the renter, you better make sure that you hire a captain that's going to count those vests ahead of time, and the company that rents the boat out has the clear-cut responsibility to have an agent, a representative of the company, to check you in and check you out. If a company doesn't do that, don't get on the boat, because something is wrong. And it is totally illegal. It makes it an illegal charter. And they have tickets that will go up to thousands and thousands of dollars. So you want to make sure that you have all of the documentation. This guy now is looking through all of his fishing equipment, and he's trying to show that he has some certain type of bait that is allowed. But you have to also make sure that you have the proper documentation, and the boat is registered, it has insurance on it, and I want you to do your due diligence to ask these owners to show you this stuff. Don't just get on the boat and turn the music on and pop the beer open and say it's time to party, because if you're renting a boat, you are responsible, and the captain is responsible. Do you put it all on the captain's shoulder? Well, you should, because the captain you have hired is the guy that is supposed to look out for your clear-cut safety. This guy that's sitting on the back of this Coast Guard vessel right now, you see these guys are smiling. They're not coming in an intrusive manner, and they're not trying to spoil this guy's day. They're just trying to make sure that he has all of his safety equipment and proof of ownership of the boat and documentation that he has that boat properly registered. Well, I can tell you, I see a lot of people that buy a boat, and all of a sudden they want to just open up a website, and next thing you know, they're in business, and they're telling all their friends and sending out all types of text messages and putting it on Facebook that they're open for business as a bareboat charter. But most of them are not completely legal. So you must, and I just underline that, you must find out for yourself by looking the owner in the eye and asking them these questions. Now, if you're booking from out of town, it's hard to do that. But thank God we have Zoom. You can read body language if somebody's not telling you the truth, and if they are hemming and hawing about giving you the answer. Now, this Coast Guard is giving the owner to this boat a yellow sheet, and this is a boarding documentation that shows that he has checked for everything, all of the safety equipment on the boat, and made sure that this guy is safe. You see, I can't emphasize this enough. They are not punitive. They are here to help us to be safe. These folks, they risk their lives. They risk their lives for us. They don't just come and get us in the middle of a storm. If we're sinking or something like that, they don't just come get us for that. They're doing spot checks, and for good reason. They're doing spot checks so that we can make sure that everyone has the same type of smile that they have as when they first went out. Now, we're going to stop this right now, and let's see if we can go to UCAM. There you go. Now, I just wanted to share that little bit with you, but there is a long list of things that you must have in order to be safe on a boat. Make sure you hire a reputable captain, search his background, and make sure you hire a reputable company. Now, again, a lot of people that think that they can just go into business and they have no experience. Some people have enough money that they can buy a $1 million yacht. That's right. They're all over. They'll buy $1 million yacht, and now they figure they can offset their expenses for operating that boat by renting it out. Well, it is expensive. You got to pay up to $6,000-7,000 for dock space in many cases per year. You have to pay for storage of your vessel, cleaning of your vessel. You have to pay for the vessel to be maintained, and you have to pay for so many fees and so forth. Now, I'm going to tell you that we're going to do a show. I'm going to try and do it next week. We're going to be doing it on shared leasing. Shared leasing is another program that if you are out here and you want to get a boat, but you're not sure about the expenses that go with it and the lessons and all of that, perhaps one of the companies, and I think there's 3 or 4 of them in Chicago now, and these companies will do a shared leasing program. That means that you're sharing one boat with 9 or 10 other people, and each of you get equal weekdays, holidays, and days in the week and nights. And so everyone gets a fair shake, and you can trade off some days with the people in your immediate group. This allows you to own a boat with all of the expenses of being a boat owner. So we're going to dig into this on a show. I think we're going to try and accomplish this next week for you and make sure that you are able to understand that maybe renting a boat might not be the path that you want to go on. You may want to take the next step. But most people will rent a boat first. They like the lifestyle. They see everyone having a good time. They want to get into it. Don't just jump into buying a boat. If you don't know anything about it, you want to be trained by professional captains. And so these companies provide professional instructors as captains to show you how to operate a vessel. I want you to know that that's a good way to get into boating. And you can do that for several years until you find your dream boat. It's sort of like this. What if you rented a bunch of different cars? Every car drives differently. And before you bought your first car, if you had the opportunity to rent several different type of cars, by then you would have the experience to know what type of car pleases you the most. Captain Mark recommends that that's exactly the way that you do this. So make sure that you look into shared leasing. You can go online and look up a number of companies and do some investigation on it. If you have any questions about it, here's what you do. If you have any further questions, I want you to take this number down. You can call me directly on my phone. I promise. If I don't answer, I promise I'll call you back. My telephone number is 312-437-2230. That's 312-437-2230. If you'd like to send me an email, you can do so by sending me an email at boatmaster, that's boatmaster1653@gmail. Boatmaster1653@gmail. Wow, this half hour has passed by so quickly. I hope you learned something about bareboat charters. If you need to know more, call me or write me. Until then, I want to tell you, I'm just so thrilled to be able to share anything with the public about coming out on the lake. Come on out if you want to live the dream. Come on out with us, okay? Until then, we'll see you next week. So, Mama, get the coffee ready because the kid, he's on his way.